Hello everyone and welcome to Dezombified. Tonight we have a scary story written by Mythologyloveshorror titled The Goatman, narrated by Miss Stereo. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Growing up among the rolling green hills of Vermont meant that I spent a lot of time outdoors. Even though I lived in the capital city of Montpelier, my choice of activities had always been camping, hiking, and swimming. Most of my outdoors memories are happy, but there was one experience I had that made me almost never go camping again. My cousin Corey and I were on summer vacation from high school, and we begged my mom to take us to our favorite campground for a few days. The next afternoon, we arrived at Lake Elmore State Park, where a ranger gave us a map with available sites circled on it. And after checking them all out, we settled on a lean-to called Ash. All of the lean-to sites at this park are named after trees, with ash and juniper always being our preferences, since they were a little more private than some of the other sites. My family had been going to Lake Elmore since before I was born, and my mom and I both knew the grounds very well. Our first night was uneventful. Since it was the middle of the week, the park was almost deserted, which meant that Corey and I never had to wait for paddle boats to become available, and we got prime lake beach spots without having to get there early in the morning. The trip was perfect until the second night. My mom wanted to go home on the second day to check on my brother Nate, who hadn't wanted to come with us. So after dinner, she left. We knew she wouldn't be back until around midnight, so we entertained ourselves by making s'mores and playing card games. After a while, we got restless and decided to walk down to the lake. From the bulk of the sites, the lake is about a 10-minute walk, and Mount Elmore, which looms over the lake, is always beautiful at sunset. We made it down to the lake shore just fine, and we enjoyed the cool sensation of wet sand squishing between our toes as we built a sandcastle. The sun was beginning to set in earnest, and we hadn't brought a lantern down with us, so we headed back to the site to grab one. I was ready to head back to the lake, but Corey suggested that we walk the trail that goes to the old fire tower at the top of Mount Elmore instead. I agreed, and we made our way to the outskirts of the campground where the trail started. An hour or so went by as we walked and talked, just enjoying the light, refreshing night. The lantern gave us enough light that we didn't feel nervous, and we made sure not to go off the trail. There was only one path for most of the trek, so it was easy to follow. At one point, a herd of deer came bounding out of the woods near us, their appearance so sudden that I nearly dropped the lantern. Corey, now a bit spooked, asked if we could head back to camp. I wasn't really ready to, but I wanted him to be comfortable, so I agreed. We had been walking for about 5 minutes when we heard someone in the woods off to our right. It was clearly a person, since their rhythmic footsteps clearly didn't sound like an animal. It was unusual for rangers to patrol the trails even at night, and if one of them had seen us, they were probably checking to make sure we weren't doing anything illegal or destructive. We waited for them to appear, but the steps had stopped and no one entered the circle of light we were in. After a minute, Corey called out a tentative,
Hello?
His voice quivering slightly. I thought it was a little odd that we couldn't see a flashlight by then, but I shrugged it off and kept walking. If some weirdo wanted to be creeping around the woods at 10 p.m. without a light, then that was their business, not mine. It was probably someone sneaking away from their family to smoke or drink or something, which could easily explain why they weren't coming forward or greeting us. As we walked, I noticed that since the appearance of the deer, the wood had seemed oddly silent. I can admit that by then, I was glad that we were heading back to camp. We were about halfway down the trail when a voice called out to us, which we instantly knew was my mom's. The sound had come from behind us, and Corey and I spun around in unison. I shouted out a greeting but got no response. Corey looked at me, concern clear on his face. It made sense that it had been my mom in the woods, probably trying to get us back for all the pranks we had pulled over the years. But it was weird that she suddenly wasn't responding after just having called to us. We waited for several minutes, occasionally calling out to her. I started to get mad, because by then her little prank wasn't funny anymore, and I was becoming unnerved. A few more minutes went by, and I was finally fed up. I grabbed Corey by the elbow and began to march back to camp, grumbling about annoying mothers and stupid pranks. Corey hadn't said a word, but I noticed him watching the woods around us carefully. As we reached the last 10-minute stretch of the trail, my mother's voice once again rang out behind us. It sounded strange, though, and I immediately thought she might be hurt. I spun around, the swinging lantern casting distorted shadows. I couldn't see anything but trees. I didn't hear anyone moving around. I was slowly becoming scared, and I just wanted to get back to the safety of the campfire. My attention was drawn to the lantern light reflecting off something in a bush nearby. It was a pair of green eyes, but to my confusion, they were about 8 feet off the ground. No animal around here could be standing that tall, even on back legs. What the hell? Corey echoed my confusion. We were both staring at this towering shadow, neither of us daring to move. After a moment, it stepped toward us, and our feeble hope that it was just a deer on its back legs was smashed. To this day, we still don't know exactly what we saw, but the word Goatman is the best way I have of describing it. A pair of woolly legs and fuzzy abdomen gave way to smooth, humanoid chest and arms. The face was horrifying, a mix of goat and man that still haunts me. I watched as it opened its mouth, my mother's voice giving a cheery sounding hello coming out of the creature, but it was warped and too deep. "Hi, baby girl. Good morning, Lonnie." To this day, I don't remember getting back to the campsite. I remember screaming and running as fast as I could away from the creature, but that's it. I don't know if it followed us or tried to communicate further, and I'm not sure that I want to know. We never did tell my mom or the park rangers about our encounter. We figured that they would tell us we were crazy or chalk our experience up to the use of recreational substances, so it wasn't worth the hassle. Corey and I have both returned to Elmore since then, but neither one of us has ever seen anything like that again. I've often wondered if we imagined the whole thing, or if it was some sort of weird dream. People don't usually share the exact same dream though, right?
Thank you for watching a scary story written by Mythologyloveshorror, The Goatman, narrated by Miss Stereo. If you enjoyed this story, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below and follow us on social media. And as always, the zombie friends, watch your six.